Hello, my name is Waylon Lewis, and every week we'll bring you a new podcast with Elephant Journal.
Hey, my name is Waylon Lewis of Elephant Journal, and I am bringing to you yet another amazing guest. We've had Gene Bauer recently. I don't remember who all else, but today is Emma Hakansson. I hope I'm saying that all right, of Collective Fashion Justice. And she's the author of Total Ethics Fashion. And we're going to talk about what the heck that is. For many years, Elephant Journal, 22 years now, since we're a print magazine, has covered Ecofashion. It's been one of our 12 areas of focus. And what does that mean? I'm vegan, but often vegans will wear toxic vinyl or plastic. So I'm really excited about Total Ethics Fashion because I think she's touching on something vital, which is how can we interact with our world in terms of clothing, in terms of fashion generally, in ways that heal and aren't just part of the solution. So a more holistic solution.
Yay.
Hi there.
Hey you, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me. How are you?
You look very slick today.
Thank you. Have to represent Total Ethics Fashion well.
I think you always do. So let's just jump right in because I'm so excited about what your approach, which I feel like is strangely rare. So what is Total Ethics Fashion?
So Total Ethics Fashion is a replacement for a lot of these other ideas about more responsible fashion that we've heard. You know, there's terms like ethical fashion, sustainable fashion, vegan, cruelty-free, slow. All of these words have been used to the point of meaninglessness. They've become greenwashing terms in a lot of ways. And they also are not particularly holistic, like you said. So we might think of ethical fashion as being made by people that are paid living wages, and that's really important.
Yep.
But that doesn't necessarily address anything to do with the environment. In the same sense, we might talk about sustainable fashion, but there's no recognition of the fact that animals are suffering for fashion or about the human aspect.
Right.
So total ethics fashion is about recognizing that people, our fellow animals, and the planet, we all need to be protected before profit in the fashion industry. So it shouldn't be a really radical idea, but it is compared to the current fashion system.
Yeah, so it's almost frustrating how rare an idea what you're putting out there is, because basically what you're saying is like, let's be nice to the planet and to people and to animals, and maybe have fun with some fashion at the same time.
Yes.
Like we can kind of have our cake and eat it too. We don't have to destroy and exploit one another, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people at first think, oh, does that mean that you don't really care about fashion? But all of the beautiful and creative aspects of fashion, I think, are actually eroded and harmed by the fact that we make fashion in a really harmful way. If we had, you know, more appreciation for the people who make our clothes, if we understood that, you know, we had opportunities to see our clothes and go, oh, I know where this was made. It's made from a plant-based material. I know how it was farmed. I know that there was no harm involved in it. It would actually just make us appreciate our clothes and our world that those clothes exist as part of more.
Oh, I love it. It's like, in Elephant, I was saying, I don't know if you caught the intro, like we've covered Ecofashion for 22 years. And, you know, sometimes friends of mine are like, capitalism sucks, all that. And you're like, yes, it is destroying the planet. But have you ever had the experience of bringing your own little tote bag and your own little cotton bags, you know, for bulk, going to a farmer's market, buying it, giving money to a farmer, buying some amazing greens, or going to a craft fair where everyone handmade everything? It actually feels really, it's one of my favorite things in the world. Again, I'm not buying leather. I'm not buying, you know, I try to buy things I feel good about, but there's nothing inherently wrong with paying someone to do something beautiful if the definition of beauty isn't just surface, but it actually includes how they ethically produced it, like you said so well. So I don't know, we could mention favorite eco brands. That could be fun. But like, one is Christy Dawn. My ex-girlfriend really loved Christy Dawn because what they're doing is ridiculously beautiful, but is also ethically sourced, sustainably sourced. So Emma, tell me a bit about your book. Do you have your book with you?
I do. It's right here.
You're so prepared. So tell me about the book and because there's so much detail in it. Also with your nonprofit collective Fashion Justice, you just did a post on mulesing, which we've covered on Elephant, so what are a few like little tidbits that people can kind of understand this in a specific way?
So just for context, Collective Fashion Justice is the charity that I run, and we exist to create this total ethics fashion system that we're talking about.
Love it.
And the book is basically a primer to get people to understand where the fashion industry is right now and where we need to take it. So, there are problems in it, there are serious issues in it, but the ultimate ending is one that's really positive.
Right.
I like to talk about examples of a just transition where we move from where we are now to where we need to go without leaving anyone behind. It's the kind of thing we talk about when we say we have to move beyond mining for fossil fuels, but the communities that work in that industry, they still have jobs and ways to support their family in a different, more green system. So, for example, one of the things talked about in the book is we know right now the third most kind of large-scale producer of leather is Brazil. And that means that 80% of the deforestation in the Amazon rainforest is tied to cattle ranching, and a lot of that profit is related to the selling of skins for leather. That has a lot of consequences on biodiversity, the indigenous communities there's forced labor involved, and there's animal exploitation involved. And so that's the problem.
Obviously, it's cracking our whole planet. The Amazon is called the lungs of the earth, and without which, we're all kind of cooked. So it's in all of our interests to care about the Amazon.
So huge consequences there, and that's just one example of one of fashion's problems that impact people, animals, and planet. But it's really nice to look at what could we be doing instead. So in the book, we talk about this innovative material called a mazkin, and it's made in the Amazon rainforest. It's made by indigenous communities that have conservation agreements so that they're able to make that material while protecting their land from deforestation for cattle ranching. And so they get the sharinga trees that are indigenous to the forest that have been there forever and ever. And they basically carve a circle all of the way around the trunk, and it doesn't harm the tree at all. And sap comes out, and then they turn that sap into a material that they can use to replace leather and to replace synthetic materials as well. And it's just such a nice example of how we can solve so many problems at once while producing something that's beautiful.
Yeah, like, if you drink wine, like cork is one of my favorite materials on the planet because it provides jobs for the farmers, often in Spain, and then habitat for wildlife. And then it's completely compostable or renewable. I actually filled my walls in this old Victorian where I live with cork from all the wine shops locally, just to insulate my walls because it's like a free eco byproduct. And the alternative, as you know, is plastic corks, which arose from Mordor like 10 or 20 years ago and have taken over 10%, 20% of the market. They're so evil, and they're the opposite. They're made out of fossil fuels. They never go away. They're toxic. They're not recyclable, all that. So I love what you're saying with the sap, because it's creating jobs. I love your approach. It's so simple, but why is it so rare?
I think a lot of people are just kind of sitting in this notion of this is how we've always done it, so why would we change it? Which is not necessarily true. I think it's easy to say, well, this is how the fashion industry is, we should just accept that. But we haven't had a fast fashion industry for actually more than several decades. We haven't had fossil fuels as a major material in fashion for that long. Leather we have obviously had for millennia, but the scale at which it has grown is also relatively new. So we do have time to just sit and look at where we are and go, actually, we don't accept this anymore.
Thanks for listening. Hope you're getting a lot out of it. The full conversation is on our indie platform that supports and continues our work, elephantjournal.com/videos. You can subscribe, listen, watch, and participate there. And when you do so, you'll keep these mindful videos and podcasts going. elephantjournal.com/videos. May it be of benefit.